You want to know what's ironic? The fact that I'm a men's rights advocate. The majority of my channel is me advocating for men's issues. I butt head with feminists all the time, but I have never butt heads as aggressively as I have these last couple of days. And it's not with feminists, it's not with communists. It's with Caitlin Clark fans, because I also happen to be a longtime LSU basketball fan. And as such, I am a hardcore defender of Angel Reese. I know for a fact that the sports media is being unfair to her. And I know for a fact that Caitlin Clark is a good player. She deserves all the credit she's getting. But a large percentage of her fan base is toxic. These people are acting like a bunch of arrogant, trailer trash Neanderthals with absolutely no home training. And it's not because of the way they talk about Angel Reese alone, but the way they talk about all of women's basketball in general. Just look at this post that Clark fanboys have been throwing around on Facebook ever since they found out Clark didn't make the Olympic team. Something that Clark herself didn't care that much about. Everything about this post just screams, I knew absolutely nothing about all the women on the Olympic Committee until I Googled them. And everything about this post is classless, trashy, and arrogant. All the things that they accuse literally everyone else in women's basketball of being. Y'all think that Caitlin Clark is a victim of racism when y'all are attacking these women for either being black or lesbian? And more importantly, Seimone Augustus has only been an assistant coach for LSU for maybe a couple of weeks. This was Seimone Augustus in her senior year of high school, on the cover of Sports Illustrated, being compared to Michael Jordan. I don't think you realize how much of an advantage Caitlin Clark has from social media alone. If it wasn't for TikTok, nobody would know who she is. But she doesn't use social media, but her fans do, and y'all won't shut up. Seimone Augustus made it on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine out of high school. Do you understand how difficult that would have been in the early 2000s? And after high school, Seimone Augustus would go play for the LSU Lady Tigers, leading them to 3 consecutive trips to the Final Four. And just like Caitlin Clark, Seimone Augustus would go in the first round to the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA draft. Not long after which, she would also start playing for the US Olympic team, in which she would win her first of 3 gold medals. So yeah, I think she is quite the authority on who is and is not ready to play for the US Olympic team. Sure, Caitlin Clark puts a lot of points up, but she gets pushed around all the time. Not to mention, she turns the ball over more than most rookies in the WNBA right now, despite all the points she puts up. I know Clark fanboys don't want to hear it, but she is not a perfect player. She has her flaws just like everyone else. And contrary to popular belief, she is not the only rookie who is getting roughed up by the veterans in the WNBA. She's just the only one you're paying attention to or give a crap about.
Well, you see Angel Reese trying to come in. Oh, my goodness. She had her hand around Angel Reese.
And I get y'all don't give a crap about Angel Reese, but here's another white girl for you who's out for the season with a torn ACL. All the rookies are getting hazed by the WNBA, and the WNBA is not the only league that does this. They did the same thing to Michael Jordan back in the day. They did the same thing to Kobe, to Shaq. At a certain point, Clark's fans are just going to have to admit they don't actually respect the game. They're just watching for one player. And even when that player thinks that people are being too harsh on their opponents, y'all still keep hammering them. The only reason Caitlin doesn't say anything mean to anyone is because she's classy. So what does that say about you? Are you admitting to being trailer trash? For as much as y'all glaze that woman, y'all don't listen to her worth of crap, which is a shame because she legitimately does deserve a lot of credit, but her fan base is ruining it. Now, I'm not going to simplify it by saying that Clark fans are racist or they're misogynistic or something, because I don't think that's what it is. I think there's a lot of layers of nuance to it. I don't even think that all Caitlin Clark fans are trash. I mean, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan too. I just recognize the ignorance when I see it. But I do think each and every one of Caitlin Clark's trashy fans does have a different reason for being a trashy fan. Whether it's racism, homophobia, misogyny, or just being a dick. But I have noticed one common denominator. The wide majority of them are men. And like I said at the start of the video, as a men's rights advocate, I am frequently butting heads with feminists online. And ironically, I seemingly actually care about women's basketball more than the wide majority of them, but I digress. And all these feminists are always whining to me about how come I don't call out toxic men. The answer is simple. Most people are already doing that. It's not my MO, nor is it the type of content I do. But in this case, I'm going to make an exception, because Caitlin Clark's male fan base is rampant with toxic, trashy Neanderthals. So why, as a men's rights advocate, do I care so deeply about women's basketball? It's because it's going to be good for future generations of men. When you actively engage with men's rights circles, we often hear these complaints that women have no sense of accountability, no discipline, no concept of teamwork. And for generations, young boys were taught such skills through playing sports. As such, if we can get more young women, especially little girls, to start watching the WNBA, watching Caitlin Clark, watching Angel Reese, watching Cameron Brinks, that means the next generation of men are going to have women who actually pull their own weight. They're going to have discipline. They're going to have personal responsibility. They're going to know how to work as a team. So while the growing popularity of the WNBA is good for the players and good for women's basketball, it actually has an unseen positive effect for men's mental health that we're not talking about. Now, we're not going to be seeing the effects of it anytime soon, but this is going to be a slow but steady generational progress. And for all the feminists watching, this is the golden opportunity for y'all to put your money where your mouth is on the whole pay gap nonsense, because you have the power to close it here and now, while also tackling what y'all call the toxic masculinity of Caitlin Clark's rabid fan base. I think it's absolutely adorable when I see little girls trying to get Caitlin Clark's autograph. I want to see more of that. It's the fucking loud, arrogant douchebag men that are the problem. And I like Riley Gaines too, but she's totally wrong about Angel Reese. She is a good role model. Angel Reese can't help it if the sports media does to her what the mainstream media does to Donald Trump. By that I mean they're constantly taking clips of her interviews out of context to push a narrative that isn't factual. The only difference is, like I said, Reese is actually a good role model. Trump is still a dick. Which is why the media really doesn't need to clip up his rants, but I digress. In closing, the best way to offset the toxic rabid fan base that has been following Caitlin Clark is to get more young women interested in sports. If you have a daughter, get her into sports. Get her into the WNBA. Get her into this stuff. Because it's not only going to be good for her, but it's going to be good for society at large. This is a golden opportunity for us. Let's not screw it up.